ask anyone from the floor if anyone has any questions. Mark?
Great comments, Mark Wisconsin from Buffalo. Tim, more question for you because of your trans-border capability, if you will, and cultural capability. How do you deal with censorship, particularly in China, and the informational flow that goes? That's one question. The second question is, how do you deal with accessibility? Obviously, not everyone has access to the system very well. And do you provide that, or is there some function that you have, or a sister organization that assists you in providing access?
The latter question, so we do not get involved in internet connectivity. It's got to be there. Governments have to work that out with the Ciscos of the world. So once the infrastructure is laid down in the country, we are the soft layer that comes down and enables the connectivity, the collaboration, and the human learning and exchanging projects, ideas, language learning, sharing of culture and history. So we're not involved. However, with the Wi-Fi laptop rollout in Macedonia, and that's one of the reasons I'm here. Macedonia, Portugal, and Australia are the 3 countries in the world doing full student laptop rollout. Now you might not know it, but I have seen pockets of one-to-one laptop rollouts, and when it occurs, about 6 to 8 years later, you see a digital literacy impact. Computing, so that's one of the things that Macedonia can expect and look forward to. And how that changes its economy, the 21st century economy, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Okay. First part of the question, well, the Chinese ministry love EPALs for 2 reasons. There are 11 arms of the ministry there. 2 of them engage us. The one that is responsible for English language learning, because EPALs has access to millions of native English-speaking peers that can collaborate with their kids in a teacher-supervised environment. Now, you might think of the Chinese like a teacher-supervised environment more than anyone else, but all teachers want that, not only for safety reasons, but to keep the kids on task. Because you only have 50 minutes on the clock, and you've got to make sure that the kids are not distracted and they're focused on the curricular learning going on. Another arm of the ministry in China are responsible for the promotion of Chinese language and culture. It's called the Hanban arm of the ministry. That's where the Confucius Institutes are. And so they like EPALs because we are a platform to promote their country's culture and language. And I know in the US, Chinese is displacing French language learning. So as far as censorship, we don't get involved in that. We have filters in our technology that a school can apply to censor bad words or allow a teacher to monitor the correspondence or incoming, outgoing correspondence and work. But we don't step into that ourselves as a company, as individuals, employees of the company, to get involved in that. We give each school, each department or ministry of education the tools that they need to adhere to their own safety usage policy that they have. So we enable the tools, and the tools can be completely configured the way that they need it in their school district, their country.
Thank you.
Hey guys, great comments. 2 quick questions. One for Chris in particular. Chris, during your travels to Macedonia, what were some of the hurdles or the barriers to entry with respect to investing in Macedonia that you encountered first? And the second question, more for the panel, based on your hands-on experience, what are Macedonia's competitive advantages on a global scene?
Well, to address your first question, in terms of barriers to entry from a financial standpoint, actually I found it quite smooth once I connected with some of the liaisons in the government, as well as on the legal advisor side. There really is no impediment, there's no issue from a currency standpoint, there's no issue from actually working through the banking system. As long as you put the proper checks and balances in place, that was not the issue. The issue was more on the regulatory side, moving product from Macedonia outwards, making sure that the regulatory standards that were adhered to within Macedonia were acceptable to be exported, because that's where I ran into a bit of a challenge. But from specifics to do with financial transactions, actually the government contacts that we had made it quite open and were willing to help us navigate that with a little more concern from our part. And as to the second question, take that first. Could you repeat the second question?
It's just, yeah.
Just what competitive advantages does Macedonia have over other countries in surrounding with respect to local economy and the production of or services provided?
Two quick things. I think that just the natural resources that you have, and also the highly educated workforce.
I'm going to address both real quick. The competitive advantage, I think, is the high-tech rollout of computing. When that press release hit the U.S., I'm telling you, and I'm in the education industry, I go to every conference, that was a big deal in the U.S. that little Macedonia was doing full rollout for all students. And there was envy because it caused discussion at U.S. and North American conferences. Why can't we have this? The strengths and attributes, the internet has leveled the playing field. Suddenly, you can be in the most remote part of the world with not a lot, not even with shoes on your feet. If you have access to the internet, you're absorbing knowledge as much as you want. And you can collaborate and learn from people who are in your same field of study, who have the same interests, affinity groups. I think the country's off to an amazing start. And we had a staff meeting about what I would talk about today and what I would propose. And this is not something, when I went to Australia, we didn't have this internal discussion. But this is for us, this is a manageable project that we can get involved in. The government seems hands-on, and I think that's an advantage. Roll up your sleeves, everyone's working together. I've got an easier time, working with the Macedonian government than my own U.S. government most times. And if there's any country that needs global cross-culturalism, it's probably our own, and we're making good strides. But I think Macedonia's off to a great start in terms of technology, and that's the space I sit in.
One piece I'd like to add is necessity-based innovation. I found, from a healthcare standpoint, the products that I came across, some products that I came across in Macedonia, whether it was formulation, whether it was packaging, they've taken some very bold steps to produce some very interesting local products. And a lot of the time when they walk you through how they came across them, it was because they had limited resources, whether it's from bench design, testing, formulation, and that actually forced them to be very innovative in terms of how they came across the formulation and the packaging. So innovation is there, but it's based on limited resources and necessity. There's some pretty incredible products that come out.
Thanks very much, Chris. Guys, so we're a little bit short on time, I guess, because we started right on time in Macedonian style. So what I'd like to say is if there's any last question, if anyone has, if that's not, then we'll wrap it up for today. Just like to thank our panelists, Chris Temovsky, Robert Lomauro, and Tim DiScipio. Thanks once again. Thanks for attending. Enjoy the rest of the evening.